Mr. Ebose Augustine Oseha is the Managing Director / Chief Executive Officer of the burgeoning, path-defining and insurance company of the year, Anchor Insurance Company Limited. Prior to his appointment in February 2018 by his Board of Directors and subsequent confirmation by the National Insurance Commission, NICOM, in March 2018, he was the company's Executive Director, Business Development and Marketing, overseeing the entire marketing chains of the organization. He joined Anchor Insurance in January 2017 from Standard Alliance Insurance plc, where he had worked for not less than 10 years and became General Manager Business Development. Ebose, who is awaiting formal graduation as a PhD holder in Business Management, having successfully concluded the program at the University of Liverpool, United Kingdom, is a graduate of Delta State University, Abraka, and University of Ado-Ekiti, where he obtained BSc Economics and MBA Business Administration, respectively. Mr. Ebose Augustine Oseha, who was one of the nominees for Lagos State Man of the Year 2018 awards, is a member, Governing Council, Nigeria Insurers Association, NIA, Fellow, Chartered Institute of Administrators, Member, Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, CIIN, Member, Institute of Directors, MIOD, and Member, Ikoyi Club 1938, among others. Please make welcome Mr. Ebose Augustine Oseha.
First of all, I want to thank the organizers of this program for giving me this opportunity to come and share my experience as a father, as a parent, and also as a son. Parenting the parented is a very serious matter in our lives. Both speakers that spoke earlier did mention the importance of parenting. I will, before my synopsis comes on board, but I just quickly want to say this, that the first institution that was blessed by God was marriage. And the essence of marriage was to have parents. He said, a man shall leave his wife, leave his family, and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. The purpose of one flesh is both of them becoming parents in one's life. And the first duty, or the duty assigned to parents first, is to emotionally, physically, and spiritually care for the well-being of their offsprings, which is their children. Anything short of this is out of track. Then I also want to say this. He said, Christ said, we shall inherit from our inheritance. And what do you mean by inheritance? Is transfer of those genetics, the body, the soul, and the spirit. As Oseni said here few minutes ago, is that the Boko Haram bandits, the armed robbers, the killers in this country, they are from a home. They had parents. How were they raised? What were they told? Who raised them? These are some of the questions we will answer today. Parenting the parenting will take us fast. What is a parent, or who is a parent? Parenting is the process of raising a child to become independent. I will not dwell much on the Bible today, because what we want to talk about is not about what the Bible says. Yes, we know these are the genesis of how the life began, because life must be from God. But we're more concerned about how the society our country, our home can be better. Because if families are better, the society will be better, the nations will be better, and the world will be a better place. I asked a question, something came to my mind while I was preparing slides for this lecture, is that if I was born in Egypt, for example, where we have dominance of Muslim faith, what religion will be my religion? Islam. If I was born in Russia, for every day that I live, I am told that there is no God, and I'm now 50 years old, and I don't know God, how do you blame me for that? If I was born by wicked parents who never taught me what love is, I have never been shown love, how do I give back love? How does love now become my philosophy? If since I was born, I have never been asked to go to school, and I don't go to school not trained by my parents, how do I become schooled? If I was born to a home where sorcery and magic was the order of day, how can my life as a parent be different from the life of my parents? The family itself, the life we live, and the individual lives that we live, is a reflection and a mirror of how we were raised. We all went to school, and we can all sit down here today. From the cameraman to the man that is speaking to those who are seated here today, we all have functions here. It's because we were taught how to do it. And that is the role of a parent. We as children are a reflection of our parents. What is parenting? But I will read from here because I don't want to leave the track. That being a parent is being there through the tantrums, the milestones and the tears. Being a parent means that you love that little person which you created. What are we talking about? Because the child that comes to us is for us by us, made for us, that we brought to this earth. They are innocent. So what do we impart to them? We used to say in educational philosophy that children are tabula rasas. What that means that they are blank slates that you write on. Whatever you write in a child, that is what you get out of him. If you, from day one, tell your children that, look, you must be generous, you must love, you must show respect, that is what they will become. Children cannot just wake up by intuition and begin to respect people, but because they went to school. The school itself has its role to play by modeling, but the parents have much more to give when it comes to family. If you are brought up in Oba Palace in Benin, there's this tradition of pride that goes with you because that's how you are taught to live. If you are a Mongolete and you grow up in Mongols, you will act like the Mongols because you will dress the way they look. If you are Samoa, you are recognized by your culture. These are family transients that have evolved into a culture because families are a clan and they are home. Family first before a clan, clan before a community, community before your local government, your state, and whatever. That form is family, communities or families form a state and a nation. So that is what you are known for. More than you could ever love. I don't want to dwell on that. There's something here very important I want to say. Say, behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who first believed first. It's a true word. If I tell my child, for example, I said, you are going to be great, and every day I tell him, it becomes part of him. If I tell my child, I'm very careful not to tell my child how I was raised and how I live with my brothers and sisters. how much my brother did things to me when I was much younger. Because if I tell them, they keep it. It will stick in their life and they will become bad adults. It's something we all must avoid. Not to allow the better part of our emotion ruin our relationship in passing these things to our children. You know, sometimes I also want to go scientific. When you see someone, you say, you actually talk like your father. We look at the genetics and transference of inheritance in our body system that bring that procreation that transfer to our parents. So if you grow up with bad attitude, or you have a parental trait that is in you that is inborn, haven't been educated, gone to school and all that, as a reflection of society, and you find that those things are not workable in society, all you need to do is to kill it in your children. And the only way you can do that is through parenthood. I have a father that taught me many things in this world that I know. One day I woke up and I asked him, long time ago, I said, Dad, have you ever smoked? He said, yes. I said, but why did you stop smoking? He said he stopped smoking when it was about having children. I said, but why did you smoke at all? He said, youthful exuberance. Then he stopped smoking because he doesn't want that bad habit transferred to his children. But a lot of us are not conscious of these ideas of not transferring things from us, which leads to bad parenthood. Because all of us are here are from families. We are taught different things. Some of us are from polygamous home. Some of us are from bad educational system. But you find out that you stand out everywhere you go if your background check or if your background family attitude is upright. Now, I want to find out for us to know, why parenting? What are the rules and roles of a parent? Was it explicitly stated? I've checked and found out from research. There is no rule defined that all families must follow these rules in parenting their children. But in a close look, is that your parents, one, will help protect their children from harm. Which are these harm? Things that will not disturb your growth negatively. Parents will want to help to protect their children from diseases by cleaning up their body, taking care of them, and make sure they are okay. Another important part is that the parents have to prepare these children for adulthood. Oh, when you grow up, you have to be this, you have to do this way right. I don't want to bring shame to this family. These are some of the things I do. Then, a lot of people go to the extent of kneeling down for their children to cry. But I don't think that is proper. Because if you shed tears in presence of your children psychologically, is that next time they have issues, they will not be free to talk to you because they don't want you to cry. You must be strong at all time when you are transferring information to your children. Emotional health and well-being. There are issues in families that you must be very, very concerned about in terms of how you relate such issues to your children. About your disappointment. You must come out strong at all times, no matter how weak you are. Children want to see strong parents. Children want to see spiritual parents. Children want to see parents that will give them stories that will make their life better. Remember, whatever you deposit in them is what you find. Some of us that have been everywhere, maybe through employment and other, people show up with behavior after educational pursuits. You find out that the behavior that your parents gave to you, no matter how educated you are, they still remain there because they are deposited. There are some people, some families, they never have a balanced scorecard in terms of how that emotional intelligence plays out on the way things are done. Straight jackets. I don't want you, I don't want you. I don't want. But forgetting that the cultural dynamics and changes of every environment are different. I remember when we were in the university, one of my classmates, the mother used to bring soup and food from Warri. Then those of us who the father doesn't even have a bicycle to bring food, how do we survive? But I'm not sure that is a reflection of what that child is today. Because he was never independent. He was never taught how to be independent. We must all try, no matter how hard it is, to make sure our children are trained independently. Not by emotion. Because these children, if you do not take them very well, if they are not well parented, they come back to you. It makes you die an unhappy parent. Every time I share with my wife, I don't want a situation where I will live my life. I have worked hard for my children. Then at the end of the day, I'll still be augmenting my children with money. My children has to call me for survival after education. It's something that I work so hard that by the grace of God will never happen to me and my wife. You must be able to balance those things with your children. And it is now. But there's something I also want to us know, is that some of us make statements. Baldwin said, look, that the children are bad listeners, but they observe better than everyone. That what you do, what the children see you do, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you gossip, the way you relate, the way you dance, the way you sing, the children might think they don't have them. Their perception and the way they perceive things are different. They will copy those things more than the way they listen. I was at one day, I called my son, I said, son, let's get ready for church. He said that I'll get ready soon. I went to his room, he was not dressed. I said, why are you not dressed? He said, I'm looking for a shirt that will match the jeans and the shoe that I'm wearing. Who taught him? Because he has watched us do so. He has watched us do such things. Then I traveled one time with him as well to the village. Unknown to him, I have given some money to some elders that were telling me goodbye. He called me and said, Daddy, I want to tell you something here. I said, what's that? I said, you have not given them money. The art of generosity is being transferred from me to him. He knows that he has to give. So parenting does not have any measure that there is a standard gauge for parenting. No. It's for you to live well, do good things in the presence of your children, mold them what is bad, what is good, what is emotionally upright, and what is not upright. In the fear and the presence of God. Like my father used to tell me, son, I don't have anybody else in this world than God. All my trust, my hope is in him. So why would I live a different life? My mom had never taken my hand to a native doctor. So where will I know one? To me, it will be very strange for me to grow up at this age. The Bible says, train a child in the way he should go, that he will not depart from it. It's a reality. The guidance and discipline that comes with the way we live is promptness. For those of us who are always late to work, and our children always watch us rush, they will grow up to imbibe that same culture. Our neatness, our discipline, the way we relate with people. If you watch some people speak on the telephone, and the person on the other side, you'll be wondering, are they quarreling? Suddenly you see a smile coming out from you after a telephone call. When you go with the person you were talking to, say, no, your voice was too loud. That is the same thing. Your children will copy. Have you also nurtured that even institutionalized organizations where you have managers who have built a structure over time, they bring people to work with them. Suddenly people begin to behave like them. If you go to, with all due respect to Christ Embassy, if you see a lot of pastors there, they want to speak like Chris. It's a reflection of societal leadership of which they believe in. So having a child that grows with you is a belief. It's that same belief they will grow. So it's a discipline nurture. That's called guidance. Unknown to you that the people who follow you are imbibing that spirit of that thing. They are going on with you and becomes a track. If you hear some music, for example, I listened to Dante, a musical artist, and I heard someone play one day. I said, that music sounds like Dante. I read, but it wasn't the man. I googled and found out that person, that music was produced by him. It's a lineage. You can't come from, people speak and come out and say, this man must be an Hausa man. It's a cultural heritage. So parenthood is cascade from the way we relate with people from our family that are transferred to the society. Education and career. Now, in choosing career for our children or trying to educate them, like I said earlier, whatever you give to your child is what you take out of him. Now, we talk about values and culture. What are your values as a father? What are your values as a mother? Do you believe in hard work? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in doing what is right? Do you tell lies? Do you gossip? I will share something with you one day. We were somewhere in the restaurant, and somebody picked up the phone in Victoria Island. It's like somebody was asking, where are you? He said, I'm in Agege. Everybody that sat there looked behind. Agege will be here. But a lot of us have made that mistake, saying these things in front of our children. And unknown to us, we are passing a very terrible value. Every home have a culture. Time they eat, time you are awake. Does your kids wake up in the morning without even trying to arrange their bed? What value do you transfer to your children? How do you want to be seen? How do you want your children to be seen? People come and say, I don't want my child to bring a shame to me, this and that. What have you inculcated that will not bring shame? That should be the question. Like I said, children are tabula rasa. Then let us quickly look at Matthew Jacobson, what he said. Behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who first believed first. What that means is, if I trust my child, like I would say, my child, I trust him, he can do this. It is because I have told him in that circumstance what he should do. There is something that I mentioned earlier in my preamble, talking about genetic inheritance. That cannot be ruled out in parenting. We bring up, like Jesus Christ said, he said, we bring our awesomeness. into our lives. And we have brokenness because we do not take a lot of things that we are supposed to have done, we take them for granted. Let me tell you why. If, for example, it's also very bad parenting or future planning for parents. If you are AS and I'm AS and we have to marry, there's natural brokenness that will come with it. Because the pains in future will be enormous. Do you want to bring up an unhappy child? Do you want to bring up a broken child? So in parenting, these are issues that in this country today, the sickle cell anemia is as a result of bad parenting. You will say, how? The transcendency of parenthood is supposed to bring happiness, entrenched, because it's a planned job. Parenthood is not something you jump into. Like OAP said, he said, somebody just goes and says, my child came by mistake. No. Your child is not supposed to be a mistake. You see a lot of persons, for every time they want to have children, the whole societies are involved. The role of genetics and inheritance is something very important. For those of us, our parents had so many children. But in our time, we looked at where we mondo the ship, how we ruffle through the system. We didn't want to have such things come along with us. You take something that is good, you copy, you take away. Then those spirits you must imbibe in your children. Like some time ago, I called my sons, and I told them I needed to drive in a philosophy, and I will continue to say that all the time. Because as parents, you must sound like a broken record until you are ahead. I don't want my children to beg. I say, look, you have uncle, plenty uncle. I have 9 brothers, 3 sisters, cousins all over the world. But I don't want my kids to leave my house and go to my brother's house and ask for money. Don't do that. And in doing that, you are showing them how to be financially independent. You are showing them how to be very responsible. Because a man will be more responsible when you have nobody to wait for, except God. And a man will succeed if he doesn't attempt to wait for people. A man will be more happier if he doesn't depend on people for survival. A man lived for 90 years and he was asked I read it in one of the daily sometimes in the Glittery. He said, why are you at this age, at 90, you are still very strong and happy? How did you make it to this stage? He said, because he doesn't send people around. He believes so much in himself to do things for himself because that brings happiness to him. So we should be very careful in our genetics, in taking decisions about how our future should look like. Then today's parenting has a lot to do with technology. We had a debate to say the smartphone or technology is a bad concept for parenthood. And if I ask here, how many of you believe here technology is good for parenting? Social media. A lot of people do not believe it's a good omen for bringing up children. Technology, social media. But for me, if you ask me, technology has come to stay. Now, let me say one. In the year 1990, if you leave home and you go into school, you are not going to see your parents until 3 months' time. You might not even hear a story if they are dead, except there is a passenger or a student in your class who traveled to your village, who saw them. But now, you can be here and your son lives in America, or your daughter lives in America. You can cancel your child from here directly. Is that a disadvantage? You see, Christ said we will have life and have it more abundantly. When you are talking about abundantly, it has to come with development, structural changes, the change in philosophy of reasoning, the way things are done differently, technology-wise. I remember those days when you go to the bank, they give you tally. You have to be on queue for so many hours. Technology has changed those things. Now, what that means to parents is that we should give ourselves reorientation. And while the children are getting education in technology and they are growing, we must fill the gap by giving ourselves same training to be able to talk to them. Because whether you like it or not, this technology will come and will overtake us. So a good parent has to also see himself advance. Because I find it very sweet, so sweet, that if I have to not travel to see my son, I see him on TV, on the mobile phone. How you doing? And I can relate with him. So people will always look at the aspect of it. That's why the proper upbringing comes in. If from the one, your son or your children knows that these are the values expected, and they are inculcated into them, they fear it. I remember when I was going to university, my father told me, said, and I came back, said, we were doing an exam. He said, you do exam in university? I said, yes. He said, I beg you, don't go and fail, because everybody here in the village believes that 4 years you are done. But that statement my father made out of joke was not funny. While you are in school, your mind is, look, I must not fail. So while the smartphones and other technologies are coming, the parents will also abreast themselves of that technology to go for refreshment and orientation on how these things can be handled properly that will bring peace home. Over security for children. Somebody called me sometimes and said, Austin, do you still have a Monda? I said, yes. He said, but you still don't put your Monda up in your status. You don't talk about your Monda. And also, I laughed. You are closer to your father. I said, but funny enough, I'm very close to my mom. But what has my mom told me that I will put on social media? There is an adage in my place. I say, my mom will call us, combo. I not get to, not go for trouble. If you enter, they kill you. I not deal. Is that what I will put on social media? Her things she said were overprotective. If you give my mom information about anything you are going to do, while you stay on the other side, she's praying. This London, when they go, so God may not let her die for road. Everything she says is all about fear. But to her, it's security. My father will call me as a G, say, look, son, no narcotic, no gun running, go and succeed. We did to my wife one day. My son said, I told my son, I said, we are going out, you and your brother. He said, is mommy going with us? I said, no. He said, thank God. The thank God is that there's no control. But the truth is that with me, there is control. But the control I will give is I will give you all the liberty. But when you are giving the track, I say, that's okay. So you must look for a way to balance that scorecard in giving that security that you have for your children. Now, when we were in school, I have some of my friends. This Kidon Society in Warri. I never knew the lady in my class was the daughter of that man at that time. Those days we have what we call Gawood jeans, trade horse. Those were panties that were like hot cake at that time that we have now. Shredded jeans, tight panties, and all that. But this lady, the culture, the kind of parenting they had at home was more of 911. Where a child would be so subdued that you lost your emotion and your freedom. Straight jacket. But the moment they step out of your gate, they are wild animals. Or you wouldn't blame them because they need to express themselves and freedom. You must allow your children, your words, to always express themselves. And that is the only way you can give them reproof and correction. You must not give advice of fear, no matter how fearful the condition is. You must listen to them. It's like when you have a manager, you don't allow them to take risks. You can never have a better manager. So these are some of the things our parents, those of us, especially those of us who are Christians, the mistake we make with our doctors. No relationship, don't let a man touch you. Once a man touch you, you are pregnant. And you carry these things with you. No relationship. I want to say something that none of you here will believe me. Do you know that many Christians today are more unhappy in marriages? Who believes? Do you believe me? Do you believe me? Because you are a Christian, the fear that you cannot leave this marriage is known. So whether you are dying, whatever happens, the shame that, look, I don't want to have a broken home, you remain in it. But because you do not have that emotional intelligence, you were never taught how to navigate between evil in marriage. Those dynamics within relationship, intra-relationship that you never had. 6 months in the church, counseling. What will counseling from a teacher brings to you? In practice, there should be proper courtship in a relationship that will give you an insight into where you are going to. For example, if you do not know about how a home is, when I want to marry my wife, I wrote an application. Yes. But then I didn't know the value of what I was doing. When I was told to write application, I said, for what? For marriage again. But that is the highest level of interview. And by the grace of God, we will never get it wrong. People were sent from the community to my community to find out how the family is, not how my father is. Because they have seen me already. We want to know how that community, that family, who are they? And in 2 weeks, we had a big clean of head and we can go on. But these things are missing today. The moment you find someone on the street, he can pay your bills, then he loves you. So these are family issues that are brought shame to Christendom and to parenthood. As a parent, you should be more involved in what your kids or your works are doing. You must be involved. You must be involved in when they want to take their decision of the school to attend, what to do, when to marry, how to marry. We should prepare them. There's nothing to be hidden. Relationship in home, to your parents, to your family, and to your kids and your works are not something that has to be done in abeyance. You must parent your children from everything they are doing. If they know you are involved, if the children are talking to you, let it be like a past tense. Daddy, remember what I told you? I'm saying they don't have to remind you because you are part of it. That is the parenting of today. The children are far ahead of you. I granted an interview. One day I got home. My son called me and said, Dad, I just watched you on YouTube. There's one place you spoke bad English. When he got to that place, he paused it and left it there until I returned. Daddy, please come. Follow me. I followed him. He turned the TV. I said, what's that? He said, Daddy, you spoke bad English here. These are the kind of children we have nowadays. Who are you in our time to go and meet your father that he spoke wrongly? Hey! How dare you? Children nowadays, it's not how these things are done. You need to engage them. Give them reasons why this thing should be so. If you are telling them not to travel, you must give them reasons why they are not traveling. I don't want you to badly behave for this reason. Now, understanding their language. Children don't say, I had a hard day. Can we talk? They say, we will play with you. That's what children does. If you are coming from work, you are hot up, stressed by the activities of work, that has nothing to do with your children. You telling them that you are tired of them, you are sending a very wrong signal that will electrify in their brain quickly to say you don't care. What is my business with you going to go to work and make that? You have to take care of me. It's my responsibility. It's your responsibility to take care of your children. Because you are a parent. You ask for them. So we should get more involved in the things and actions of what we do. Now, you also understand we have different types of personalities that also affect the way we talk to our children and the way we relate, even in our offices and all that. Personality traits, we have the choleric, which has to do with a very strong character, very ambitious people. Then you have the sanguine, who is like a lower cadet of a very strong character, but understanding, not like the choleric, who is like a hammer. But the advantage of all these personalities have a thought. Then you have the melancholic. Melancholic is something that people are just there who are professionals. Most of them, if you want to describe in a professional word, I call them the auditors. Rule by tuum. You must do this thing the way it is. If you change, you are wrong. Pastors, bishops, who doesn't want to die before going to heaven? Then you have the phlegmatic. I think that's where my wife shares between the sanguine and the phlegmatic. I don't even know the group I belong to, but I can't amend that between the whole group. But in the real sense of the word, in the modern society, we all need to play in the whole group. For you to move around. For you to be able to cross these personality traits, it gives you edge in the way you manage your children. Son, sit down here. You must sit down. You can't do that. So those personality traits are something that we all need to work on. But I will advise that we find out what kind of personality trait that we are, so that will help us to. Now, if you go to the parenting and the personality traits and parenting, you see that the kind of personality that you have is something inbuilt that you also have in children. And those things can only be healed on wholeness, especially for someone who is like the choleric that is very proud. Proud inbuilt has some personalities that, if you are a proud person, you don't want to cheat, you don't want to steal, you don't want to have disrepute. You are just straightforward. You want result all the time. Because one, you want to, the choleric, which is of course the hammer, is a giver. Then these traits that you find in your children, you should study them very much early. And know the group they belong to, so you start carrying out your corrections. If you do not do that as a parent, you'll find out that your child comes up with a stronger character. But then when you talk sometimes, mommy, forget that thing. That character is coming out inordinately. It begins to affect your personality and the way you relate with them. All right? So it's something that we need to do as parents. Then there's one strong factor that I want everybody to take care, whether pastor, pagan, or whoever we are: temperance. Temperance from both children and from parents is two-way traffic. The word temperance means restraint. Don't say things when you are angry. It can destroy you, destroy your family, destroy your work, depromote you, promote you. All sort of come from temperance. the mood that you are in, you should have that emotional intelligence to always play that look, even when you are very upset with things. Are you okay? Somebody will come to you, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. You brush it off. You come down, you recalculate, and take your order. Now, I remember one time my son ate food and took more than he was supposed to eat. He didn't finish it. Without risk, without bothered about how the society, how much we have worked to earn this money, dump the food in the bin. My wife was very upset. And I kept quiet and dealt with the boy. Next time you want to take food, take exactly what you want. Unknown to her, what she has taught that child is restraint. Some people go to parties. You are given food, you eat. I beg, give me some takeaway, let me take home. It's a bad habit. Your children are watching you. No, it's bad attitude. If I'm going for a party, they ask me, I say, one man insisted. I said, okay, you must take that food by yourself and go and put it in my car. Nobody will see me carrying food to my car. How can you see a man well dressed after I've eaten here? You are kept food to me take on the home. But guess what? Those food you might take home, you might not even eat them when you get home. But it's just an attitude. And that temperance, that bad temperance is what has ruined Nigeria. You want to take money, save money. When we're doing a study, we found out that Nigerian government, Nigerian populace, has unrepatriated funds all over the world, and some of them that own that money are dead. They can't trace them. Nigeria has the highest in the global ranking. You just pile up money, no reason. We don't have factories. When I was coming on this road, this Acme Road, those days we were hustling, living in this Lagos. We found out all these places were factories, but they're all churches now. Spiritual well-being, economic well-being, well, that's another story for another day. What has led us to where we are in this country is our leaders not being able to exercise restraint in the things they do. Even as a pastor, you must also sometimes restrain from some spirituality and look normal. Because you are not God. Parent primary characteristics. We have the child characteristics and the contextual and social cultural characteristics that, if they are all put together, brings us to make up a good parent. And I'll quickly read through them. We talk about the age, we talk about personality, we talk about mental health, developmental history. All these are geared towards having a better parenting. Then you talk about the child characteristics. Talk about behavior, temperament, age, health, skills, and gender. Because let me just quickly explain the gender. The way you raise a girl child and the way you raise a male child are not going to be the same. When you talk to a girl child, you must talk to her with affection. Much more. Because when a girl child gets upset and they don't come back. We have many ladies who are not in tune with their family, more than me. So it's something that maybe a longer time lecture, but you can just read them up on parenting. It's very important. Then in the cultural, socio-cultural, some of us, we tend to raise our children above our culture. What you are doing to these kids, you are killing their instincts of their originality. And the ultimate loser of these children is yourself. Oh, my village is not good. Don't go to this village. Just go to America. I don't want to see any of you here again. That's not what you are doing the best you're doing. In my traveling around the world, I've been to Italy, that you see an Italian that was born in America. They can never give an American name. And every time I look at the Yorubas and the Igbos of this country, I really appreciate them when it comes to that cultural value. In my village, they speak Pidgin English. Pidgin English, not even Isha. And some of these things we are doing, we think we are doing for the society, is harming the family. You call for family meeting, in some families, they are speaking English. The cultural values that we come up with that instill fear naturally have all been lost. If you go to, there's no culture that allows you to go take what does not belong to you. There's no culture that will tell you, oh, these things, this country, this person, go and kill him. No. But we have more broken homes now than when we respected our culture. This parenting we are talking about today, have anybody sat down to look, what is the origin of parenting? Parenting came. The first study of parenting came in 1958 in America. And it's brought down by confusion in people raising up their children. It wasn't the original idea. So culture is something we all need to take very, very seriously as it concerns the way we do things in our homes. Social network, which is the main focus for this new generation. We should be able, as parents, navigate between social lines. The idea of telling children, oh, don't go there, this is bad, you must give reasons. Why? Because the children that you are telling these things to have no research. Now, this takes us to effects of bad parenting on children. What are these effects? Inability to have long-lasting friendship and relationship. The mental state of children that are not properly brought up is very short. They don't have mental strength. Everything breaks them down. There's no courage. Low self-esteem. We must all work hard as parents to avoid this. Bad parenting can also lead to cause of psychological and disorder to a child. Psychological disorder. Where a child, you see children of 11, 10 years committing suicide because the parents have not shown them love. For everything around them looks, see your big head, now so you don't do anything. You see your children don't pass, don't go to school. Did you train me the way you trained the others? Was I trained the way others were trained? Some parents are really jokes. You can't plant cassava and reap cocoyam. Depression and low self-esteem, like I mentioned, bad parenting makes a child more prone to criminal behaviors because he was never taught the values of life. Watch what you do around your children. And I will read something here by James Baldwin. Children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to imitate them. Many things my father did, I imitated him a lot. Sometimes we think our children does not deserve explanations of things we do. I appreciate my wife a lot when we are trying to have some serious discussion. She drags me in because she doesn't want the children to hear. And the only way I can cheat her very well quickly is to say things in presence of my children because she cannot say no to me. I take advantage. But a lot of people will abuse their wife, abuse their husband in presence of their children. You are raising a child that will be a bully. You are raising a child that will abuse the husband. You are raising a child that will abuse the father. You are raising a child that will abuse the society. You are raising a child that will be a bad teacher. Because this child, the highest teacher any child will have is the parent. Robert Fagon also supported, said, don't worry that your children never listen to you. Worry that they are always watching you. You should worry that your children are always watching you, what you do. I can't leave home without telling my children where I'm going. Because if I come back, I'm going to do a lot of explanation. Because that's how my father raised us. My father will tell us where he's going. Though sometimes the pressure of what takes us away from doing that, the children will draw you back because you have taught them. You must explain. You must explain. Because your children will always imitate you. They want to speak like you. They want to dress like you. They want to do things that you do. My father is late, but there are so many things, a standard that he has set that cannot go below, maritally. If someone comes, my father, before we were even married, he had told us that divorce is not a norm in this home. So if you want to marry, I will quote him, use Omo, use Elephant, use all the soap to wash your hair, then go to church, use olive oil. I must be very sure that what you are going to, you are not coming out of it. So why will I even wake up tomorrow and think that my wife should get out of my house? For us, it's a standard that you have failed. But for some families, it's not. He beats you. Why will beat you? I beg, I don't do for that. Pack, come out. No sense. That's why they marry. Lack of mental capacity that we talked about earlier. Values are things that you cannot take away. The takeaway from this, our lecture today should be family parenthood is all about values. You want to go to school to have an impression. Impress who? To have a value. In marriage, in your educational pursuit, in the things you do, even in friendship, you must bring value. If you do not bring value to the table, you are not valued. Like I said earlier, we talk about parenthood and say, oh, what are the rules for parenting? Evans McGregor said, the things about parenting rules is that there are any. That is what makes it so difficult. What works for this family does not work for this family. Cultural differences, socio-economic philosophy, and all that changes. Are never the same. But just be a good parent. Be a good teacher. Be a good listener. Also watch that because your children are watching. Your environment is watching. What you do, they will do twice. What you don't do, and they try to do it, they hide it from you and make sure you don't understand and don't see them. But with love, you can take them together. What do you think you're doing? Make sure your children does not lie to you. Don't put that palpable fear that will make them lie. Because when you catch kids emotionally and push them to a corner because they want to be free, know the consequences, the repercussion that will come from their action, they lie. And I've found out that what makes children lie is fear, not to be beaten. But with so much love, they will tell you how their life will be. And they will show much care and attitude towards you. Because the love from children and the play we have from children is something so sweet that I don't want any parents to have such that. The memory I have of my father is still very, very fresh in my memory. How we were raised. Despite we didn't have TV to watch, we didn't have fridge. Not once we had fridge. But the love we have was so, the bonding was so strong. Because for every time we stay with him, the facts and the stories of life that we have today was what we had and we have to share. And this is a continuity we must pass from generation to generation, like the Bible professes, that we should go to this world and pass on from generation to generation, which is our inheritance in Christ Jesus. Thank you very much.